Good day, good day, good day. We had a few technical hiccups. We're working those out right now, and every day has some challenges. It's just up to us to find the workaround. So once again, welcome to the Be Do Have live stream here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like button. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes as we move through some of our technical challenges of getting ready, to be do, and have a wonderful day. A shout out to everybody out there all over the world listening in right now. We are live, living, being, doing, and having what we create. So let's create a wonderful, beautiful day. You're listening to the music, a selection from the new Medicine Music Collective's soundtrack special edition, which is also a soundtrack for the book, What's Eating You? It's the question for the day. What is eating you, and what will you allow? I see our very special guest and co-host is in the green room, Dawn Osborne. They call me Doctah B, Sirius. Yes, let the music take you and ground you. Yes, that track is called You. AEIOU. All right. Yes, welcome everyone. It is our highest choice is that you are choosing this moment, and we're glad you're choosing this time to be here with us. As we delve into information that could help augment your day, we're going to share information that's going to be very special. It's our highest choice that you are choosing this moment. Right now, I'd like to bring in our co-host and special guest, Dawn Osborne. Dawn, where you at?
Here I am. Greetings.
Good day.
Good
day. How you being?
I am being exceptionally well.
Beautiful. So let's get started by first taking a deep breath and hold it. And exhale out through your mouth like you're whistling. Inhale deeply through your nose. And hold it. And now exhale out through your mouth like you're whistling. Once again, inhale deeply through your nose. Fill your lungs up with new life. And hold it. Hold it. Hold it. And now completely empty your lungs. Blow out through your mouth like you're whistling. Yes.
Yes.
Now we're present. That's how you get present. Breathing brings you right back to center. When you get off, just breathe. That's the life force. That's the life breath. That's how you get back to center. So, Dawn, what's going on?
Well, I'm here in Hollywood Hills at a lovely women's retreat, and I just decided to step away and spend some time being, doing, and having. But it's a wonderful time. It's a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Beautiful.
And so today we're speaking from chapter 10,
Oh,
germ warfare.
mm. So, from the book, What's Eating You, we're going to chapter 10.
Never leave home without it.
Never leave home without it. So, let's all give ourselves permission. Give ourselves permission to be the best self. Give yourself permission to move forward and learn something new, be something new, have something new. So, just mentally in your mind, give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to drink water and to pour water as a libation for nowness. Also, we'd like to ask for permission to speak and to speak candidly. Is it okay that we speak about some things that you may have not thought about, heard about, or thought about in the way that we're going to present it? Is that okay? If it's okay, put yes in the chat if it's okay. Is it okay that we share some information, possibly in a fun, entertaining way? Is that okay? And is it okay that we may ruffle a little feathers, cause a little agitation? Because when you're learning some new things that you didn't know before, sometimes it causes that agitation that gets you moving and gets you out of the junk, gets you out of the swamp. And sometimes it doesn't feel very good because the programming of the past, sometimes it fights with the new information from the new, and we get a little upset. We find that sometimes when we're studying, learning some of these new concepts, we get a little angry because we're like, well, why didn't we learn that in school? Why didn't our teachers tell us that? Why wasn't that on the news? Because some of the most powerful, interesting information is happening right now for the first time. And there was no way that some of your parents, teachers, and friends and family could even know this. Some of it is brand new because we're on a new earth. It's a new time. So as we move through some of this information, realize that sometimes, getting a little angry and a little upset is okay as long as we move through it. Let those emotions go. Hold on to no emotions. Let them out. Let them out. Let them out. So today we're going to be talking about germ warfare. And Dawn is at a women's retreat, and I see she's in some whole mode. I can see her energy glowing, and she's somewhere in the hills, and I can just feel the energy of the women's retreat. You're speaking, and we can't hear you I don't read lips yet.
Dr. B, we got to get you up on reading lips.
Yes, get us up. I need to take a readings lips class.
So it's a women's retreat. It's all weekend. We started yesterday afternoon, and it's quite relaxing. I feel like I've completely unplugged, and I don't know, 20 minutes from home. So it's really very relaxing just to unplug, just to turn off all the volume, all the ringers, everything on your phone, and set it aside and simply unplug. It's everything. That and the fact that I am now on day 7 of my cleanse, which has been amazing. Um, I'm doing the total body elevated cleanse. And when I started last weekend, I thought, okay, I'm just doing another cleanse. It almost took me out. Sunday night, my lymph nodes were swollen. My um, body was, I had fever. I had all the things that said I had come down with something. And initially, I was going to try and figure out what's going on. Do I need to go to the emergency room? What do I have to do? And I had to just push pause because my body was about to be in fight or flight. And I just had to say, this is the cleanse, burning through the toxins that reside in my body and they're, Dr. B, you can say what it was really doing because it was amazing when I said, well, we're gonna thug this out. We're gonna keep on with the herbs. I infused X Factor into my protocol and stayed with it. And then by Tuesday, I was back to normal with like running around like the Energizer Bunny. It was amazing.
And how long had it been since you did the cleanse last?
I'm not sure. I was trying to remember how long it had been. It had been a while. Um, it had been a while. It wasn't my regular regime of every quarter. And so my body was showing me what happens when you don't do it every quarter.
Even if you live what's considered a clean life or a healthy life, you're breathing air, and air has things in it. And water, I don't care what kind of water it is, it comes with things that your body is storing up. Your body is basically a filter. As you're breathing, you're filtering the air so that your lungs can take in the oxygen. As you're eating, your digestive tract is a juicer. It's juicing. It's extracting the liquid, which is putting in your blood, sending to your bloodstream, and it's extracting the waste. Everything has waste. Everything is connected to everything. So there's no way to live a totally clean life because the earth is not, quote unquote, totally clean. And toxins are built up no matter how you eat, no matter how you live. So each season, there is a different set of toxins, a different set of energies. There's a whole different vibration happening in the season where you are. So this is why we say the something like the elevated total body cleanse or the total body cleanse is to be done seasonally because you're always picking up new toxins. Just think about the energetic fields or the residue you're picking up from people. See, when we're talking about this type of detox, we're also talking about not just the physical toxins and poisons in your blood and the parasites, but we talk about systemic parasites because that also has to do with parasites or energies in your etheric field, in your biofield, biosphere around you, your magnetosphere. So there's things that are living everywhere. And we pick up entities and things just from people, just from associations. You go in a store or an elevator or anywhere where there's people, you're picking up some of their energy residually. So those are considered energetic parasites unless they're for you. So if you could filter your system, if you're really good, you can filter everything, then you are only picking up the things that are useful, but we're picking up both all the time. So when you have not done something like this seasonally, the first time you do it, you're going to detox at a deep level. And some of that, what you were probably feeling, Dawn, had to do with, energies and things that you'd picked up that were deep in your cells that needed to come out. And sometimes when it comes out, it's just not pretty. You see, so
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all. But being on the other side of it, as I say, because at one time I was every single quarter. Um, After that experience, it will be every single quarter. And I don't think that I didn't do any cleanses or I didn't do anything or take any herbs in that time. I just didn't do the total body cleanse. And there's such a difference. There's such a difference because I've had friends say, "Oh, let's do a cleanse together." Okay, and the herbs seem to have all the things listed, and working with you over the years, Dr. B, I kind of know what to look for. But I will tell you, just because it says it on the bottle doesn't mean that it's going to work together the way the elements of the total body cleanse. I haven't experienced anything that's like the total body cleanse, and I won't list what I did with friends that were doing cleanses, and we said we're going to do it together, and there's 4 or 5 of us, and yada yada yada. The thing is that the total body cleanse goes in and works on your total body. So what was being cleansed with whatever was in the herbs that I was taking, or the supplements that I was taking, it didn't go through my total body. So what was going on with my lymphatic system wasn't being cleared with other things, even if they said they were for the lymphatic system. The total body cleanse is so thorough. That's what I'll say. It's very thorough because it immediately went in and started rooting out and eliminating things. And I could feel feel the elimination in my body as it was happening. From the swollen lymph nodes, and my lymph nodes were tender to the touch. Like I was like, what's going on? So from the swollen lymph nodes to the immediate weight loss, like I immediately saw as I got through that, and my body was draining and going through everything. I saw just the immediate change in my body, and it's constant. I no longer have the headaches. It's continuous. It burned through so much, and I'm sure it's not finished yet, but I feel amazing. And I haven't really had a desire to eat, which is great because my body is, as you're allowing your body and fasting, as long as I drink my water, I do my supplements, my body has also had a chance to really rest during this cleansing period. And I'm just rolling with the flow. Right? And so it's fitting that we're on this chapter, germ warfare, because it is more than just what you do. It is the environment. As healers, we believe clear everything from everyone after every session. I'm sure there's a residue there too. Outside of going and jumping in the ocean, and I'm in California, so I need to go and dip in the ocean and really, really cleanse weekly. It's just a matter of understanding, like, wow, it's giving me a different perspective on how I do what I do.
And since we're on this, let me just cover a few things because I've had a couple calls this week of clients asking about the cleanse and why do we use flower essences? So flower essences are different than essential oils. Flower essences are the energies, the subtle energies that plants are picking up from the cosmos. So every flower has a different signature, a different frequency, and is connected to a cosmic source or a cosmic field. And depending on what flower it is, it's reconnecting that flower to its essence, to its source. So it remembers what it is. So a daisy is going to stay a daisy and not end up being a rose. You see, there are signatures, there are defining energies and frequencies coming from the stars that helps us identify or create or be who we are. So flowers have a special energy. It is the highest expression of the plant before it makes the fruit or the seed. So flower essences reconnect us to who we are. They reconnect us to our etheric or our angelic self or our astral self or what some people call the cosmic self. So they work totally different than herbs and essential oils. So in the program, in each product, you're going to see flower essences, and those help reconnect us. And there is one flower essence that we're using in this the total body and the elevated total body program. And that particular one helps to connect us to who we are before we got here. Okay. That one is the Joshua tree, because we pick up a lot of things from our parents, from our upbringing, school, all the things that we go through in life as children. We're picking up cosmic resonance from all of that. Now, also there's scar tissue. So just with Joshua Tree, it helps to refine your connection to your root, to yourself, to who you really are, your identification. Because a lot of us, we lost our ID or gave up our ID based on the family imprint. And that family imprint, of who they wanted us to be and who they told us to be and who they programmed us to model after, has affected us. So with Joshua Tree, just that one thing in the cleanse helps to reconnect you to your root. Because if you're not living your core self, your natural original self, then that may be eating you. That may be devouring your life and sucking up your life force. But we also do use essential oils, and certain parasites, certain bacteria, or what they call microbacteria, only respond to essential oils. Not all essential oils, specific types of essential oils from certain places on the planet that have a higher vibration than herbs. And I just want to say this really quickly. We have been told that herbs can fix and cure everything. They can't. They don't. They are a part of a holistic system. They're like your assistants. So if you hire an assistant to help you out, they can't do everything. They still need you, right? So herbs are a part of a holistic system. But what we realized is that it was going to take herbs, right, to help us deal with the what we call the phytochemicals, what we call the essential elements in each herb, to help deal with certain types of parasites at certain times of life, and also support certain cellular activity. But then also essential oils, which are all about the smell and the energy of the olfaction. Then the flower essences. But we also put music and magnetic resonance, and all of that is going to have an effect on people. And if you haven't done something like this in a while, you may have some symptoms of the toxins and the poisons, not just from your physical body, but from your etheric body, from your subtle body, from the people around you, from entities around you. We're all being affected by everything, and everything is connected to its opposite. So Dawn, what you were going through was not just a physical thing, it was a spiritual or energetic thing. And I don't know of a cleanse on the planet that does that, along with different types of systemic parasites, physical parasites, mental parasites. And that's what we talk about in the book. So in the book where I'm talking about this germ warfare, I think once we get into this, you'll have a better foothold on why we're doing what we're doing the way we're doing it. I know that was a lot, Dawn, but I had to get that out since you were.
No, thank you. And there's a really good question in the chat. Someone was asking, experiencing the same thing when they're doing the cleanse. They don't have a desire to eat, and they were asking about, is there a food supplement? And I was thinking of the essential balance. Would that be something that you would say? They were asking about food because they're not eating. They were asking about what, if anything, they could take as.
Well, there is a dietary guide, a nutritional guide in the book as far as what you can eat,
Mhm.
and essential balance is a good choice. The challenge with essential balance is, see, first of all, I don't make or create products if I can't find all the ingredients from certain sources.
Mm,
So there's certain times you'll go to the website and you'll say, "Oh my God, like Essential Balance has been out of stock now for almost 2 months. So I'm back order." Well, Dr. B, how come you just can't make it? Because there are certain things that I use that I have to pick myself. They have to be from a certain farm, from a certain handler, the way it's traveling. All of that is important to have the highest possible frequency that can help you, and not just have the herb just because it says spirulina. Well, which spirulina? There's
right.
blue green algae. There's different types. There's 25 different types of spirulina. You see, in the same thing with all these things like sea moss. just like 15 different types of sea moss. Which one? It's not just the thing, it's which one. So I'm very specific. And if I don't find the exact ingredients that agree to exactly my criteria, I don't make the product.
Oh, so essential balance is out of stock.
It's out of stock. So it's out of stock right now. And it is on back order. We have like 10 people waiting. And we will have it soon. Well, it depends on if there's three ingredients we're waiting on right now. Because of these tariffs,
Oh,
some of the products that we get from overseas, and most of it, a lot of it is from overseas, other countries. It costs more to pay the tariff than it does for the product right now. Because they're making America great again. So there's things that we need that are great from other countries we can't get because America's trying to be too great. But that's a whole nother subject. So if you see something that's out of stock, just be patient. And also know that we make products now seasonally. We're so busy, we can't just make the products. Dr. B can't be in the lab and then do these programs and then do lectures and workshops and book signings and all of these things and still have a life. And still have a life. Dawn and I have talked about this for years. Dr. B, you've got to live some life. I have been, I talk about this. I'm going to hit this real quick. I talk about chronic servitude syndrome. And somebody said, well, Dr. B, when did you come up with that? We never heard that term. Well, about 10 years ago, I came up with that when I realized that a lot of us are in chronic servitude. We're just helping and doing everything all the time. We're trying to help people sometimes that didn't even ask for help. We're putting ourselves in conversations and putting ourselves in places and making posts about things that's really none of our business. So I realized that I was in chronic servitude because I'm attempting to help the people and force the people to heal. So many, many years I've been out there with the boots on, marching, attempting to get people to wake up and realize what they need to do to help themselves. But then I realized you can't make anybody do anything. And I have had physically, mentally, and spiritually gone through some really big changes, especially recently in the last few years, where I realized I'm working too hard and I'm learning to have a little fun. Go lay on the beach. You're talking about being when you're in Malibu, in Hollywood Hills.
I'm in Hollywood Hills, yes.
I am so excited about going to the beach when I get back out there and just laying out and doing nothing. When I go to Jamaica, I just lay on the beach and do nothing. That way I can serve myself because we should put ourselves first. But the concept and the germ and the program, a germ is a program that's in our heads that we got to be working hard all the time, helping everybody, always talking, always having an opinion. I'm learning to be quiet, mind my business, and business my mind. Therefore, we make the products now seasonally. Once they're out of stock, you won't be able to get them to the next season. So get what you can, get it quickly. And also keep in mind that when the pandemic hit, we were out of stock on everything and couldn't get it. So when the pandemic was almost over, people were buying things in 12s. We now sell products where you can buy 12 of almost anything. So like some people wanted to buy things in stock because they realized if something happens, like with this whole, war or crisis or whatever, it seems like it's always happening. It's best to get a lot of what you need now. Even with the book, there's people buying lots of books so they can buy them for other people. So get as much as you can. Get, toilet paper is going to be gone. Last week the toilet paper was gone. When they mentioned the war a couple months, what was it, a month ago? All the toilet paper and all the paper towels were gone. Why? People want to be clean. Woo! Yes. So
yeah, it's there's so much power in what you said, and there's so much power in being able to unplug, like literally just unplug and give yourself permission to unplug. Because when we're perpetually in savior mode, we're doing everything for everyone, and we don't realize how depleted we get, right? And I was speaking to one of the ladies last night, and she said, well, I said, I just get quiet. And she says, well, why don't you reach out and call people? Well, everyone cannot replenish my well. I can't plug into just any source to replenish my well. So silence is a source that I use. And then I have certain people, like I can connect with Dr. B, or there are certain people that I know that when I connect with them, even if I'm um, even if I'm giving or pouring into them, the energy is reciprocated. Everyone can't do that. A lot of people just take, and what they are sending back, you don't want, right? And so, being able to unplug, like, so this weekend I'm here in June, the end of June, I'm going to Aruba. I'm just having I've scheduled a series of time this year to just recharge. And just like you put in your schedule all the things you have to do, you need to put in your schedule that time for quiet, that me time. Schedule your me time. I learned that
Hmm.
a long time ago. You can give everyone else time in your planner. Schedule your me time. If you need to read something that's totally unrelated to work, if you need to read what's eating you, access schedule your me time. Give yourself dedicated time for your personal recharging, renewing, your healing.
That's a bar right there. Schedule your me time.
Yeah.
And I was asked one time, why was I being so selfish? Because I was gone. I went on vacation, and people like, you didn't leave a number where you were going. You didn't tell anybody, because people will put their hoodoo on your trip. Where you going?
Mhm.
I'm going to blah blah blah, and they're like, oh, that's beautiful. Well, be safe. Well, first of all, I didn't know that I needed to be safe until you said that. Now I'm worried. I'm a little looking around the plane and seeing who's on the plane and putting on my mask. Sometimes we use words that we think are helping the people, but also people have issues sometimes with you living the life you'd like to live. You see, and
Mhm.
even though they may be saying, "Oh my God, it's going to be great," you know, but they're thinking themselves, "Why can't I? She always gets to go everywhere. Look how Dawn is getting younger and younger." Oh, and by the way, I got to mention this, Dawn. Whatever you're doing right now is really deep, because if I go back 5, 10 years,
Mhm.
it was looking a little rough. You could tell your eyes used to drift, and you would just stare out sometimes, and you would say things over and over and over. And your skin had that look like you were under it. You were dealing with it. Well,
Oh, five
whatever
years
has happened,
ago.
you got up over it, and you really right now look about 20 years younger than you were 20 years ago.
Wow. Well, thank
Congratulations.
you.
You're looking amazing. So whatever
Thank
you're
you.
whatever you're doing, being, and having, let's share. Put it in packages. You know what I'm saying? You can send it out. The do gift. you know, it could be good to get a do package.
A do package. Yeah. This is what you should do.
This is what you
Um,
should do.
right. Yeah, I was explaining to one of the ladies last night that in January I'll be 60, and she was like, "Absolutely not. I just stop lying. You can't be." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be 60 in
What?
January. Yeah, in January I'll be 60.
When I meet you when you were like 30?
Yeah.
Really?
Hmm. Oh, it
Wow.
was early. I was before I was 30 because Lauren was born when I was 27.
Wow. Well, you looked really young when I met you. Then there was a relationship or so, and you was looking a little seemed like you had been pulling a few hairs out.
Oh my goodness. Well, the thing is, I went through a period, and trauma is intense. Um, Trauma will change everything about you. And I went through a period, and I had a stalker, and I went through so much trauma. That's what you saw 5 years ago. You saw the after effects of what that trauma caused, and it aged me. It changed me. I've lost 50 pounds. I put on weight. All the things happened because trauma. I got locked in a trauma zone, is what I'll call it, and didn't know how to break free. And it was longer than 5 years ago. But Reiki and hypnotherapy were the tools that I used to heal myself. And then I became a Reiki master and a teacher, and I became a clinical hypnotherapist because I found that we as a people don't engage enough. So my goal was to create as many Reiki practitioners that look like me as I could. Because when I was seeking Reiki, I didn't find a lot of Reiki masters or Reiki practitioners that looked like me. The same with hypnotherapists. First of all, hypnotherapy is very woo-woo, and people are like, "Oh, you're not going to make me get on my knees and bark like a dog." No, we're just going to help you reprogram your subconscious mind using suggestions that come from you. You tell me what you want to change, what you need, where you need to adjust, and I will, based on the way you learn, assist you with that by helping you reprogram your subconscious mind. And so, but there weren't a lot of people that looked like me. I wasn't receiving um, input from a hypnotherapist that felt culturally authentic. Because you're tapping into my subconscious mind, and you're just reading from a book, or if you can't culturally connect with me, it doesn't mean that I really want you diving around in my subconscious mind.
Yes. Yeah, that's deep because when I was studying, when I was becoming a Reiki master with Dr. Presley, Diana Presley.
Mm-hmm.
Whew, she was on one, and she took it right in. She said, "Let's
Right.
take." She said, "We're gonna deal with this on a soul level." So she put the collard greens in it. You understand what I'm saying? Because
Right.
sometimes you go take this stuff and it's like we're way out in the world, and just imagine yourself in a pink circle, and you're looking at the people like, "I don't look. I'm from the hood. Give me something with some grits in it." You know what I'm saying? So she came in and really locked us in. So and I now use the Reiki on the products. That's another thing we don't even mention that
Mm-hmm.
after we make the products, we Reiki them. And she used to, when we first started making the products, she sent a Reiki master to Elevation, and every batch of herbs she would do the Reiki. But she made her transition, and when she left, Reverend Diana Presley said, "Look, Dr. B, you need to come and learn how to do this yourself." So we use all of these things, and even the subconscious alignment is a type of hypnotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
So the places that we go to receive the balance or the healing or the homeostasis is broad. But the powerful thing is that we all have had things like stalkers. Like I remember I had a
Mm-hmm.
stalker for years. The stalker still calls every once in a while. There's like a bunch of them. But a lot of us have these traumatic things, and they're almost like germs. Just
Mm-hmm.
you got to wash them off. So when we understand the concepts of what a germ is and how we have germinated some of the issues that we have, we can learn now how to detoxify. So congratulations, Dawn. You're doing amazing.
Thank you. There's a question in the chat. Does the cleanse cause lymph nodes to be swollen? If the cleanse doesn't cause that, but if you have had something going on in your body and the cleanse is cleaning out your lymph nodes, or you've had a process, something that was passed, it burns through um, the cells as it cleans out, as it cleanses your body, and you burn through past occurrences that your body may have had. Dr. B, you want to speak a little more to that? Because that was.
Yeah, some of those things that we're calling symptoms are cleansing. These are symptoms of cleansing and detoxification. And these toxins have to get out some kind of way. So we're opening the channels of elimination. Because if you've got an issue in your lymphatic system, that means that there are doors or openings or pores or these channels of elimination that are blocked. And most people have them, even folks that are, oh, I'm vegan and I have my breatharian and I eat nothing but green tea. If you live on this planet, you're going to have toxins. And
Did you say a breatharian?
Oh, I'm not joking. Years ago, my friend said he wanted to introduce me to these breatharians. And I was like, this was a brother named M. Siddiqui. M. Siddiqui was, he still is. He's a one of my teachers at the time. And he said, we're going to go hang out with these breatharians. I said, breatharians? These guys came walking out. They walk really slow. They're really thin. They breathe really intentionally. And they don't eat. They just drink, right? So we were riding along in the car, and there was a field of flowers. It was on Jefferson Boulevard. I'll never forget this in L.A. They said, stop the car, stop the car. They don't talk too loud anyway because they don't have a lot of energy because all they eat is breath. right. Stop the car. And they got out, and they went over to the flowers, and they fell out in the flower field and were just breathing. And I'm like, what are they doing? He says, well, They're breathing in the energy of the flowers. The universe has all of the food, the sun, the flowers, the flora and the fauna has the energy of life in it. So they are right now eating the energy of those flowers. I was like, this is deep. But there are breatharians.
Wow.
Me, I like food a little too much. In fact, tomorrow I'm about to make some collard greens and some black eyed peas with some jackfruit to replace the little meats. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't do it. But everybody's we're specialists.
Right.
It depends on what your thing is. But remember, while you're detoxifying, if you go do something this deep, you're going to have stuff coming out. Sometimes people have that stuff coming out of their eyes in the morning. And one of the symptoms is gas. Gas says that the die-off has happened because when the parasites are dying, they emit, or their dead tissue creates ammonia gas. So you'll find yourself gassy. You know what I'm saying? You sheets on at night, and all of a sudden there's a balloon in the morning because so gas is a deep thing, and we have to use things like L-ornithine and L-arginine and things like that to help pull the gas off the system. So that's why the tranquility is important, because tranquility you take at night before sleep, and it helps to burn off a lot of the gas and the gas state. And because otherwise that gas, that ammonia gas, will keep you up at night. This is one of the things that a lot of folks who, they talk about herbs and cleansing and all that. There are different states of energetic fields and cycles that happen that you have to deal with and balance. That's why there's so many things in the program. That tranquility, people say, I don't have any problem sleeping. Well, you start detoxing from parasites. And you may, because they will try to keep your ass up, because they know when you're not sleeping, you're not rejuvenating, because most of your healing happens at night.
Right.
So the tranquility, which is part of the elevated and the total body, the total body program, is essential. So take it anyway. And it helps you smile because it's got orange peels and lemon peels and essential orange and mandarin and things like that, which help you smile. Because when you're at war with these parasites, you better smile. Smile. Anyway, so what we're doing is dealing with the germ warfare chapter of the What's Eating You. And by the way, What's Eating You, the book is selling like crazy. And right now we're about to be sold out again. They are moving like crazy. I was with Michael Beckwith. Oh, let me cover this really quickly. I was with Michael Beckwith yesterday. He's in town. And he was at this conference of all these ministers, these older ministers, right? He was the moderator. And he said one of the older ministers was walking really slowly. And he said, yeah, I'm getting old and my bones and my this. And he was complaining about all his stuff. And he looked at Michael Beckwith and says, you know how it is when you get older, right, Mike? And Mike says, no, I don't know anything about that. He was like, well, they're the same age.
Wow.
They're the same age. And he was talking about how people will get you to agree to states of consciousness or age or who you're supposed to be. He'll get you to agree. They'll get you to agree. So you've got to have yourself set in stone of who you are, your ID, your identification. So you don't get caught into age and what happens at what age. And then this other guy was what'd you call him? The guys who do the horoscope stuff, the astrologist. He was like, well, Doctah B, when were you born? Where were you born? What city? And I said, I don't know. He says, no, this is how it has to do with who you are. I says, no. For me, who I am is who I am right now. So if I get stuck on any one thing, I won't move. Now, that stuff is good just to get an idea of what is possible or the track I should be on based on your belief system. I said, but I am changing my sign. They said, what's your new sign? I said, love. What sign is that? That's all the signs. Love.
Right.
So if we stay in love, love ourselves, eat like we love ourselves. Don't eat like yourself. Don't eat like you hate yourself.
Right.
But you got to realize at the same time, what's eating you? What is eating you? Mentally, physically, spiritually, and energetically. So the book is doing really well. And I had a great time with Michael Beckwith and the crew last night. And we're going to be doing some things in Los Angeles. That's what we were planning. An event to come do a book signing and do a core access experience and help folks on the West Coast, move through all the challenges that are happening right now in attunement, total attunement.
Right.
As they say in the news, back to you, Don.
Back to me. Okay. I want to start reading the book. And there was one question during the cleanse: is it best to be off work or on vacation? I would say you don't have to be off work or on vacation, but you do have to give yourself time, because I know that during those first few days, I just got up and went into my Reiki room and took a nap because I needed to allow my body to rest. So give yourself grace. If you feel like work is not a place where you could step away and give yourself time to, where you can push pause, then maybe take a couple of days at the beginning of the cleanse, because you will feel it. You will feel the need to sleep and to rest. I say pace yourself. Know thyself, right? You have to know yourself. I'm in tune enough with my body that I knew that, okay, it's time for me to shut this down. And I just took a break. I went and not everybody has a Reiki room in the other office. So I went into the Reiki room and went to sleep, but not everybody can do that. So if you know that you're going to need to pace yourself, go to work. If you feel like, if you can leave it a half day because you feel like you need to rest, then do that. Listen to your body while you're cleansing, because it's going to be speaking to you.
And the way we put the program together is it's for busy people. We have a lot of folks who have busy lives, so you don't have to be, 10 feet from the toilet. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
I
And
love that.
you're not going to go through the griping of your intestines. It's these are all adaptogenic herbs we're using. So adaptogens are herbs and essences and products that actually adapt to your lifestyle, adapt to your body's frequency. So we use only adaptogens and only tonics, which is how we're able to create a program that's for everybody. So if
Hmm.
you have a busy lifestyle, you don't have to stop. It's going to help adapt to your frequency and help to remove some of the things that are keeping you from being at your best or highest frequency. So you don't have to be off work. If you'd like to, it would be amazing. Do a vacation. In fact, that's what we should do. We should do a whole retreat for a month, Dawn. A month long
A
retreat,
28-day retreat.
a 28-day. Just leave the planet. And when you come back, you'll be a brand new person. That's when you
That
come
would
back.
be that would be awesome,
Yes.
because the collective energy with everyone going through the cleanse at the same time and being able to be there for 28 days, that would be amazing.
Put that on the board.
Yeah, that's something for the books
Yes.
for sure. So we're going to be working from chapter 10, germ warfare. Um, and I'm going to start reading from page 97. We were told that the first Europeans who came to the Americas sought opportunities to gain wealth and flee religious persecution. Some were criminals, ex prisoners, servants, and European slaves looking for a better life. The big piece they left out of the stories told in school was that many of these people were carriers of deadly diseases. They may have had no idea that the pathogens they carried would be fatal to the healthy and free tribes of the Americas. The 19 or more weeks of the journey were like hell, and up to 50% of them had never survived the trip. They were packed in cargo holds with farm animals, rats, roaches, cats, dogs, flies, and maggots. The cargo hold floors were covered with excrement, vomit, blood, rotting food, and dead bodies. The people suffered from mouth rot, measles, scurvy, seasickness, influenza, dysentery, boils, gangrene, leprosy, typhus, cholera, malaria, tuberculosis, goodness, chickenpox, diphtheria, whooping cough, and syphilis. It is not that all these diseases originate in Europe. They may have never been concentrated on boats this way until European transatlantic journeys began. It was easy for a few settlers to conquer entire continents of people once the diseases they carried began infecting the native inhabitants. They had no natural resistance for these foreign deadly pathogens. In school, we were taught that the European invaders and their mighty armies conquered the indigenous Americans through war. The victory was due to disease caused by parasites that the Europeans unknowingly introduced. Pathogens did most of the conquering. This is the beginning of germ warfare. That's deep. The indigenous people of the Americas had no immunity against these parasitic pathogens, which killed almost everyone overnight. As the original inhabitants of the Americas died, so did thousands of years of natural healing arts, information on plant medicines, and proven ideas about living in harmony with Mother Earth, lost forever. Europeans lived and traveled in close quarters with animals. Unlike most indigenous populations of the earth, the animals may not have shown noticeable symptoms of disease, but were carriers of zoonotic parasites, meaning they could easily jump from animals to humans. This the reason why Europe has so many plagues? Many scientists say so. Bugs, in reality, conquer some of the greatest battles in the Americas, not so much as the great armies.
Mm.
Two excellent references for this historical information. One is Jared Diamond's book, turned documentary, turned documentary Guns, Germs, and Steel, available from National Geographic. The second is A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. I'm reading from page 98 if you have the book, if you want to read along. Check these facts. Check out these facts. The Spanish flu killed more people than World War One. The Black Plague or Black Death was caused by a bacteria, Yersinia pestis, which killed up to 200 million people in Europe. History tells us the story of how it was introduced to Europe by Africans, Asians, and people from the Mediterranean. However, there is evidence that poor living conditions, inadequate sanitation, parasites, microbes, rats, flies, and fleas contributed to it. It's funny how some people need to blame their problems on others, especially those they don't know or understand, or those they fear. This is xenophobia.
Xenophobia.
Xenophobia, an intense and irritational dislike, hate, or fear of people unlike oneself. Now, that is a disease all to itself. Mental, spiritual parasites like Wetiko may have been the root of this condition. Yeah.
So think about it. Our minds are almost cemented that the Europeans came to North America and other continents and had great armies and great strategists and knew how to take over. But when in fact you look back and see that these people who were on the boats were full with animals and they slept with the animals in the hull of a boat for weeks and weeks. I mean, the people pooped and peeped and ate and slept and slept with animals. And it is the true fact that some men had what you may call romantic relationships with some of the animals, like sheep. Did you know that syphilis comes from sheep?
I didn't.
Syphilis is a zoonotic parasite
Wow.
that might be in the animal. It doesn't even affect the animals. The animal's just a carrier. But then you notice that they're warm and fuzzy at night and they don't argue and they give it up easily. So these people, some of them were having relations with animals.
It's crazy.
This had, you see, most indigenous people did never live that closely with animals. Most indigenous people didn't have animals in their house or in their hut or in their cabin. They were outside. They may have had relationships with them, but it wasn't so close.
Right.
So animals carry things that is they're natural for the animal to carry them, but now they cross easily into humans. That is a zoonotic transfer. Many of the diseases and parasites and germs that are now in our population that we think are normal for human beings are not naturally for or from humans. They're from animals. All of them are carriers of these parasites, these germs. And when those people who had lived with those animals for all that time and eaten with the animals and slept with the animals, when they set foot on different continents, the indigenous people, they had nothing in their body. They had no immunity to these other type diseases, these bugs that came from animals.
Right.
So they walked in and shook some hands and gave up some blankets, and the people began to die. Whole nations, whole townships, and of indigenous people died because they had not been exposed. Because when you're exposed to certain toxins, certain poisons, and certain things, your body builds up an immunity to them over time. Well, in the indigenous world, people didn't have any immunity. They hadn't built up an immunity to such things.
Right.
So when you hear about these great wars that were fought and the Euros came in and destroyed these tribes, they don't tell you that it was germ warfare. Not that they were doing it on purpose at first, but they just came in and said, "Hi, everybody. Hi, how are you doing? We're from Europe." And all of a sudden, folks begin to die off. It's really
Wow.
deep. So a lot of the diseases that we have right now, they originally came from animals. That right there is deep. And we have a very, I talk about that in the book too, this love relationship with animals, this love-hate relationship. We want to eat them. Next thing you know, we want to sleep with them. They're in our bed. They're watching TV with us. I was at the pet store because my children, at one point, they had a turtle. And I would go to the pet store and I would sit outside in the car and just watch how many people were going. They were in line one time. They had this sale. People were in line and they were coming out with 2-3 carts of foods and cages and things for their animal, for their pet. And I said, this is a business to get into, pets, because we love pets. And sometimes they're wonderful companions. I'm not talking against them. I'm just saying that sometimes, we got to be careful and realize that they're carriers. So I tell folks who are pet lovers, you definitely need to be doing the cleanse every season, every 3 to 4 months. And you also need to sprinkle some of it on your dogs or cats or birds or fish food, because it works to help eliminate the germs that are in those naturally endemic or in those beings. So when we talk about germ warfare here, I'm talking about how when these conquerors came, the colonizers, when they realized that just their presence was taking people out, that was the first level of germ warfare. And when they became conscious of it, they began to use that to conquer almost every group of people on the planet by carrying their germs. And then the people who were warriors and fighters, they were too weak sometimes to fight.
Right.
So all you needed was a couple muskets and a couple swords, and you know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, the indigenous people could hide. They knew the topography of the land. They knew how to hide out. Why couldn't they hide and go to the mountains? Because a lot of them were weakened and sick. One of the reasons that we don't have our authority right now and our power is because we're weakened from parasites, from diseases, from germs that were brought here that are keeping us from being at our optimum highest vibration. Germ warfare is deep and it's still being used today to control society.
Yeah, germ warfare, and then you have the mental spiritual warfare where they infuse fear, and they use, well, yeah, we won't go into that today, but they infuse fear. And there have been times where fear was fully implemented through religion.
Yes.
right? And so that's just very, very, very deep. I'm gonna go on reading because I want to get into this section: sugar and the domino effect. The use of sugarcane can be traced back about 2,500 years to what is now considered Africa, India, and Asia. It was eaten raw, juiced, and dehydrated. Like most natural foods, it contains many minerals and enzymes and enters the bloodstream gradually. Pure cane sugar is nothing like the highly processed refined white cane sugar. Are you aware that processed sugar is the number one drug on the planet and it inhibits the proper functioning of the brain? We were taught in school that in 1492, Columbus and others stole the land, enslaved, and killed indigenous people of the Caribbean islands and North and South America. There are whole tribes of people that are now extinct because of these sick, evil men and their insane lust for gold. Columbus wrote in his log that the Indians were fit to be ordered about and made to work, and they ought to be good servants of good intelligence. That's incredible. It's incredible that even though we know the facts, Columbus is a criminal and is celebrated with a holiday and revered as a hero. Around 1503, King Ferdinand, excuse me, King Ferdinand, Queen Isabella, and Romanus Pontifex, under the Catholic Pope Nicholas V, head of the Christian Church, sanctioned slavery, and the transatlantic slave industry began. These people said God sanctioned them to do this by proclaiming that the peaceful indigenous people were evil savages. These conquering oppressors were in the business of stealing, possessing, raping, and domesticating people just like cattle. This was fueled by extreme narcissism, greed, ego, anger, fear, ignorance, and schizophrenia. They may have been infected by parasites affecting the mind, like rabies, toxoplasma, malaria, and an illness some indigenous people call witiku. Mentally ill people often profess that God is talking to them when entities possess them. These sick beings started a domino effect that unleashed a physical, mental, and spiritual plague on the world. This insanity affected their people and their offspring just as much as those they subjugated. The effects still affect all people in one way or another to this day, causing CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress syndrome, for the offspring of subjugated indigenous people. This, along with racism, caused post-traumatic slavery syndrome. These two syndromes create a domino effect that has crippled the advancement of everyone, regardless of background. I am in no way saying that these few European leaders were the first to take land and kill and enslave. They were the first to take their mission on the road overseas, trying to conquer and occupy the entire planet. The slave trade was not initially about cotton, it was more about money made on sugarcane, known as the white gold, as it was costly back then. There was a great hunger for this sweet product in the bitter New World. From the 1740s to the 1820s, sugarcane was Britain's most valuable commodity. 19% of the sugar produced by Europeans was as a result of labor. Cutting and processing sugarcane with its razor sharp leaves was a job of so labor intensive and hazardous that no one wanted to do it. So slaves and indentured servants were forced to do it. Diseases like yellow fever, smallpox, and malaria sickened and killed most of the European indentured servants and indigenous American slaves. The African slaves were more resistant to illness, especially malaria, so they were forced to become the dominant source of food. It was
Okay, let me
highly.
say let me say something right there. One of the reasons that the what you call Africans were they were resistant to things like malaria is because they had sickle cell. Sickle cell, which now we call a disease, sickle cell helps to fight malaria. A lot of folks don't know this, that a lot of us black brown, yellow, tan people have sickle cell traits, and those sickle cells help to protect us from malaria. So
Wow.
the ones who didn't have that would catch malaria quickly. So they realized that the, the darkest ones that came from the continent of Africa didn't die or didn't get malaria so much. So they were picked and kept out there in those sugar fields because they were protected from
They
malaria.
were resilient. We have
Yes.
resilient cells.
Yes.
Wow. It was highly processed, denatured, and refined using bone char to make sugar dissolve and look more pleasing to the eye. Bone char, also known as bone black, was made from charred animal bones. The sugar barons have denied this, but it has been alleged that the bones of African slaves were also used to make bone char at times. The sugar manufacturing process creates toxic dust that is highly volatile and often would explode like a bomb, burning anyone in the area and creating more charred bones. Allegedly, on some farms, the cane fields were intentionally set on fire to make the cane easier to harvest by burning off the sharp leaves. Allegedly, sometimes slaves would be trapped in the fields and burned alive, supplying even more charred bones. Why do you think? Who do you
Who?
think were the bone collectors? Yeah, who do you think were the bone collectors? There was also a steady supply of African bones from those who died from overwork, punishment, and torture. Like many businesses, the livestock industry has a zero waste policy. That's crazy. It uses everything. What do you think was done with all these bones? Dead or alive, the Africans were involved in forced labor. Damn.
Sugar.
Wow. You know, we're talking about germ warfare. We're also talking about greed on such a level. All for sugar. And I think my favorite part of the cleanse that used to be the hardest part was the no sugar, right? No sugar while you're taking the cleanse. And I know once years ago there was absolutely no meat, and it's good not to have any meat in the cleanse, but it's not mandatory. But no meat was easy. No sugar was not, because sugar is in everything. And so getting to the point where you're making your own dressings and you're not using ketchup and you're all these things that we've become so accustomed to that are full of sugar. When I got through that point, there was everything else was easy.
So the piece on sugar, refined sugar, this is really, really, really important to look at, because it when they refine it, it creates a very small molecule which doesn't need to be digested. It just goes through. As soon as you put it in your mouth, it goes through the mucosa lining in your mouth, and it ends up in your blood system really quickly. When you get a picture of this and you realize what's going on here, that this is a drug. It's something created. It is unnatural. It's not like the sugar cane, the pure sugar cane or the natural sugar cane, which has larger molecules because it has more starch in it and it takes time to break it down. So, you know, processed sugar has a glycemic index of 99, which means that it hits the blood immediately. So your body doesn't get a chance to deal with it and break it down like it does some of the natural fruit sugars and things like that. So this piece is huge because it's connected to mental, physical, and spiritual slavery. If you're consuming lots of this refined sugar, you can't even let me just say this much. There is a something in your gut called leptin, made by friendly bacteria. It's called leptin. When you eat, it senses your digestive tract and it knows how much of something you've had, and it sends a signal when you've had enough of something. So sugar, right? Sugar, when you use the processed sugar, it breaks the lectin's ability to codify or to codify and send the message to your hypothalamus. And that hypothalamus is what tells your body you've had enough of something or you've had too much of something. Leptin comes from your digestive tract and says, okay, we've had a bunch of food. We've had some grapes and some bananas and some watermelon. We're good. But if you have processed sugar, immediately the leptin is, which is the messenger, sends the wrong message to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is the part of your brain that connects your nervous system and your endocrine system, your glandular system. So this is a communication center. The hypothalamus helps to regulate temperature. It helps to regulate hunger and all of these things. It's balancing the hypothalamus. It's at the top of the pyramid in the brain. When you eat processed sugar, it shuts down or turns down proper functioning of the brain for about 24 hours.
24 hours?
About 24 hours.
Wow.
Just a half a teaspoon of processed sugar. And you eat more than half a teaspoon to make something taste good.
Right.
And it's in everything. If you just look at most of your food. So what happens is, now just follow me now. So if the sugar is shutting down the hypothalamus so that you now can't say no, you're hooked on something. I need more, I need more, I need more, I need more. You don't stop eating. It also regulates when you've had too much of something emotional, when you've had enough of anything. Enough is enough. The hypothalamus is the thing that kicks in and says, we can walk away. Let's move away. When you've heard enough lies and enough bullshit, the hypothalamus kicks in and says, we've heard about, there's 3 lies that were just told. We don't need any more. Because, things come in threes. Mm-hmm. You got a relationship and you've heard too much, or you've dealt too much, or you're ready to walk away. The hypothalamus is the thing that signals you've had too much or enough of something and you're satiated. When you're satiated, I'm good. I can push away from the table. I don't need any more. A small piece of that cake, a small piece of whatever, and I can push away. If you now have too much processed sugar in your brain, because processed sugar affects the brain, and it turns down the proper functioning of the entire brain for 24 hours, you can't think. You don't know when you've had enough of something.
Right.
You've been through bullshit and all this stuff. America keeps lying to you over and over, and you keep voting and going for the same stuff that they haven't ever fixed or said they were going to do, or they haven't done what they said they were going to do originally. The same thing with people. A lot of times you go out and you date a person, they got a good look, you break up with them because they're half crazy. Then you go find somebody else that looks like them, wears the same cologne. You see what I'm saying? You don't realize that personality type or that energy type or that energy field is not for you. We keep dating the same thing. We keep telling ourselves the same story because our hypothalamus is being poisoned by sugar. And I'm going to take it one more step. Remember I said that sugar, that processed white sugar, even the processed brown sugar, affects the entire brain? Mm-hmm. Well, also it affects the pineal. The pineal gland has to do with what you can see outside of yourself. It has to do with you connecting to the cosmic realm. It has to do with you having precognition, having a concept of things before they happen so that you can take care of yourself. Things that are on the event horizon, they haven't happened yet. The pineal can actually see. That's actually your first eye because it's the first one to be developed in you. And who told you that was the third eye? So now you're degrading it. It's the first eye. Okay. It's now not working correctly because of this same sugar. One more. The pituitary. The pituitary puts out the love hormone called oxytocin, which helps us connect to other people. It helps us to realize and experience true love. If you've got processed sugar in your gut, then your brain gets a signal that now we're under attack. We're under warfare. Something is eating us. Something is devouring us. So check this out. This is important. If you realize that sugar has me not knowing when I've had enough of nothing or when I've heard some bullshit or ate some bullshit, I'm dealing with something that's not good for me. If you also cannot differentiate between what is love and what is like a lot, and also you have an issue with love. You have an issue with how you connect to the world. And that pineal gland also connects you to the cosmos. So it cuts off your cosmic connection. And I'm going to tell you this really quickly. In the early 1900s, you want to study that area because that's when they started coming up with all these things and, using sugar to cover up the rotten food. And that's what ketchup is all about. And all of these glazes and things to make stuff that was actually rotten look better. And they began to use sugars on the coatings of pills with the pharmaceutical companies. Sugar became a good thing. It replaced love. So now a lot of people could not connect to their cosmic self. So it was easy for people who said that they knew God and had a better connection to God than you to step in. Check out how food is always at the church afterwards, the potluck. A lot of times you need to really pray because you're lucky if you live after you eat within that pot. It's sugar everywhere. You go to the doctor's office, they got a big pile of candy. So you're about to make a choice, a big decision today, right? And it's candy there. So you eat the little candy, and then the doctor tells you some stuff that don't even make any sense, and you're scared. Why are you so afraid? Because if you eat processed sugar a lot, then you're going to be afraid. You don't know who you are. You have no direction. You have no focus, and you're cut off from your natural self. Sugar creates slavery. Now, the piece we just covered, sugar is a big piece of slavery. And they use bone char or bone black, charred bones to help process sugar. They use charred bones of indigenous people to help create this stuff called bone char, which is a filter made of charcoal to make that sugar look white. Because things when they're white, they're holy, they're clean. This is a deep subject.
Wow. This is a really deep chapter, Dr. B. I almost want to create cliff notes for this chapter, and because we're just scratching the surface, reading it page by page. Like we're not going to get through the chapter. We're at 925. Is there a specific part of the book in this chapter? Well, I mean, it's not that long, but I would have to read right through. But is there a specific section? Because I think everyone should read this chapter. I mean, as I'm reading it and as we're going through it, I really, I think that you should read and reflect, right? Because we don't realize that there's addiction to sugar, or that sugar creates addiction in other ways and creates dependency, as you're saying. And so, reading this chapter, you could go to, where do I notice patterns of addiction or dependency in my own life? And what am I consuming that's going to get me there?
I think we may need to do part 2 on this.
I think so too. And I think it might be good to also look at bringing in like Dr. Mahdi as we do this chapter.
Yes.
Right. I think that if I were to say, with the people that are with us that have the book, I don't know how many of you have the book, but if you don't have the book, you should get the book. Because just being able to read through this chapter and read along and then go back to the importance of while I'm cleansing, I've removed sugar from my diet and I'm doing the parasite cleanse. So I'm not putting sugar in my body. And the cleanse is removing the traces of sugar and the parasites that are requesting the sugar. Because I don't have a desire for sugar. I don't have a desire for food right now. But the cleanse, as it kills off the parasites, they're not asking for sugar and the things that I thought I wanted and or needed, because the cleanse is doing its job. It's working.
So it's important to realize, everybody out there, that parasites, they will have you craving sugar. Certain bacteria and certain viruses will have you craving sugar, because as long as you are eating processed sugar, your immune system is not reacting the way it should. All your defenses are down. This is why it was a big push for this in the early 1900s, when they were taking over the mindsets of people. Because once people are eating taking this drug, which is a cocaine type molecule, they can't think for themselves.
Right.
And the parasites work with this whole mindset, because they say, look, eat more sugar, because we have more freeness in the body to do what we've got to do. Let's do this, Dawn. This page 102.
Mm-hmm.
Let's read page 102 and just a little bit of the next page, and I think we'll get a better picture of what we're saying. Can we do that?
Okay. This new type of highly refined unnatural sugar has small cocaine-type molecules and is highly addictive. When it touches the tongue, it quickly enters the bloodstream, creating a domino effect. The pancreas jumps into emergency mode and secretes high levels of insulin to counteract the glucose spike and save us. Without insulin, high amounts of glucose can cause diabetic shock and even death. Sugar overload acts like poison, affecting all organs, especially the brain and the endocrine system, glands. Glands are like mini computer networks that secrete hormones, chemical messengers. They relay messages from the brain to every cell. Proper brain glands and hormonal functioning are essential for the body to operate correctly. In a docuseries, Food That Made America, they discuss how in the late 1800s and early 1900s, people began to leave farms and small towns in mass for the big cities. They hoped to find work in new factories, thinking it would be a better life for them. In most cases, life in these cities was like hell compared to what they had left behind. The food in the cities was terrible because they had no refrigeration yet. Much of it was rotten and there was little or no sanitation. The streets were lined with makeshift markets, tables of deteriorating meat and rotting vegetables. People were never sure what they were purchasing, how old it was, what it was, or where it came from. Disease was everywhere. People suffered from parasites, fungi, bacterial infections, and viruses. Most people had some illness, and many had stomach cancer. Where there is a crisis, there is opportunity. During the same time, the pharmaceutical business was being created, and many people were willing to be guinea pigs for just a few cents. If the food and disease didn't kill you, then the crude experimental drugs surely would. Most people still trusted natural cures over these new chemical drugs at this time, but the natural plant medicines they grew up on may not have been available to most living in these big cities. I can continue to the end of this page, maybe?
Yeah, okay.
New food and pharmaceutical companies popped up everywhere. Competition was unbridled and ruthless. The unscrupulous salesman occupation involved manipulating people's emotions to override their natural reasoning through lies, cognitive dissonance, and the art of repetition. This caused people unaware of their own power to become preoccupied with fear, lack, and limitation, real or imagined, which is one of the most powerful tools in sales. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, many new companies were advertising agencies that used any means necessary to hijack minds. First, they would create a product, an idea, a drug, or a treatment. Second, they would make the concept of a need for or a disease caused by this product. Next, these wordsmiths use the powers of language, spelling, autosuggestion, and hypnotism to entrap and occupy people's minds, creating pure consumers. Often, when a family member, comrade, friend, religious or political group, or any authority figure buys into an idea as if by magic, people around them will join in without proof of the idea's validity. People can become like puppets on autopilot, convinced that what they are being told and sold is essential for survival. Whether it made sense, people allowed themselves to be herded like sheep while throwing logic to the wind. This was the birth of a new type of slavery, mental slavery, and mind wars. The salesmen worked street corners as pushers, trying to convince people that, that chemicals were superior rather. Sound familiar?
Like with dominoes all lined up. One domino pushed could knock over all the others with little effect. This is where you get the term pushover.
Wow.
Let that sit in your mind for a second. This piece. And this why we call this chapter germ warfare, because germs are not just physical. It's like dirtiness. This is the root of the system that we live in today. If a group of people or somebody who has they got a loud voice and people line up and you're able to push people over, you get one group of people to believe in something or to say something or to go along with something, and you get whole families and groups of people just go along with it. It must be the truth. It was on the news. My doctor told me.
Right.
My minister told me. My best friend, my grandmother told me. My mother and father told me. My best friend told me. It must be true. So we end up going along with some things and not being able to tap into ourselves, because you can't tap into yourselves if you've got too much sugar and toxins in your gut, because your gut is the first mind. Your gut is your first mind, that gut feeling where you know something's off. But a lot of people today, they can't trust their gut feeling because they can't feel their gut. Their gut is full of microplastics and chemicals and, preservatives, and, you're reacting based on emotion and, somebody showing you something over and over through repetition. I'm trying to figure out how some of these fast food burgers are still 99 cents. Buy one, get three free. What all of the other things in the economy have gone up crazy. But since the 60s, some of this stuff, the price doesn't change because people feel they feel that I got to eat something. It'd be better to eat nothing sometimes. But because your hypothalamus is off, you can't judge when something is too much or too little, how far away it is, whether it feels good or not. Because between your gut and your head, you're off. That gut feeling usually is the one that's usually right on. I had a gut feeling. Here you are all married up and hugged up and you got children and everything, but you had a gut feeling that this dude was a maniac, an actor, or she was a nut. You had a gut feeling, but all those dates and they took you out. And then the one that really gets you off is going to be Valentine's Day. What is that all about? Sugar. The chocolate is supposed to be an aphrodisiac, not for everybody, but for certain groups of people. When you get this sugar and you're eating this sugar, you can't think. You don't know what love is. You like the sugar a lot. Oh, he brings me a lot of sugar. She brings me a lot of sugar. We had candied yams. Why do you need to put candy on the yams? Yams already have a natural sugar, and that natural sugar that's in yams and sweet potatoes is a prebiotic, which your probiotics use as food to strengthen your immune system. Prebiotics are things that your body can't break down easily, but it uses it as a food or to support your microbiome. So sweet potatoes are already sweet. Yams are already sweet, but you want to candy them. Why do we want to put so much sugar? Somebody was talking about the candied ham the other day. I said, do you know where the candied ham comes from? They put cloves in the ham because the cloves can help to kill some of the parasite eggs that's in the ham. Then they put sugar on the outside of it to attract the parasites because parasites love sugar. So they would be baited to come to the surface to eat the sugar, but then the cloves would help to kill some of the eggs. It doesn't kill parasites, it will kill the eggs of certain parasites. So all this sugary stuff, this sugary talk that people have, they want everything to be so sweet and make it easy. This is all sweetening. Well, we get affected by this and these ideas that life should be easy and it should be this. And we went on vacation. What did you eat on vacation? I went to Jamaica and didn't have to eat anything but fruit because the natural fruit was already so sweet. And those natural sweet ingredients that are in natural fruits, they don't act the same as processed sugar. It's been processed. Some of your stories that you're hearing on television and news, they're sugared. They're sugar coated. They're not telling you the same thing. You're looking up at the sky thinking that they went to the moon. What does that got to do with you? What does that have to do with you in your life? So it becomes a thing where we have been, programmed to look away from truth and look at the bitter truth, because the bitter truth, the real truth, bitter foods, bitter herbs are the ones that actually help build immunity. They help give us strength, but we don't want anything bitter. We want it sweet. So this is how sugar became one of the things that helped these beings help conquer the world. And the sugar weakens the immune system so that you have more germs that are proliferating, more parasites, more fungus. That's another thing, candidiasis or fungus. The sign that you got it is you're craving sugar all the time. And sweet talk. Did you know, check this out, Dawn. Did you know that your subconscious can't differentiate between physical sugar or sweet ideas? You're off. You're
really?
Your subconscious cannot differentiate between, did we actually eat some sugar? Are we focusing on sugar and sweets? Or we're just hearing some sweet talk?
It does the same thing.
It does the same thing. And your immune system weakens because your immune system is saying we're under attack. This is germ warfare. Germs and sugar, and the sugar concept and the sugar industry is so deep. And let me just say this lastly. Why is it that these sugar plants just explode? They explode because the refined sugar dust becomes a part of the environment inside of these sugar the buildings where they make the sugar. One match, one spark, and the whole building blows up. Sugar is an explosive. You can make bombs with sugar.
Wow.
Are you bombing your body with processed sugar? So one of the things that the Elevated and the Total Body Program do is they begin to eradicate the energetic field of sugar and begin to eliminate the parasites and the micro poisons, the micro germs, or what they call microbacteria that are craving sugar. So some folks say I have a problem. I can't get off the sugar. Do the parasite cleanse. And halfway through, you're going to notice, wow, I'm not craving sugar. I feel better. I can think better.
Right.
And people will talk and you'll hear what they're really saying. You'll watch the news and you'll hear what it's really saying. You'll listen to the one that you think you love and you'll hear what they're really saying. Is it sugary? Because we live in a sugar-coated world. And once we once we get away from this false sense of sweetness and get to the true sweetness in ourselves, we don't need candy. And we don't need candied yams and candied hams and candied talk. But that's the
I
thing.
get it.
Oh, he's really sweet. He told me he's gonna. You hear people talk. Oh, she's a really sweet woman, and she's such and such, and she's gonna. It's really sweet in the beginning.
Right.
Then the subconscious comes back online, and their natural self, and all of a sudden they ain't so sweet. That's because you couldn't tap into your gut feeling, which was telling you in the beginning something was off. Every relationship that I had that ended badly, the first minute I met the person, my gut told me, no, you better not go with this. But then they begin to offer me food. And what's a good way to get to a way to a man's heart? Is through his belly. Cook him some food, sugar it up, glaze it, make gravies. Gravy. Think about that. The word grave.
Wow.
Gravy. Did you know gravy was made to cover up rotting food? And one of the things you use in gravy is going to be gluten or wheat to thicken it up to make this coating so that the food tastes good. A glaze. We're going to put a glaze on it. You see? So you get that to your man or you get that to your woman. They're in love. Oh my God. They're so sweet, sweet, sweet. They cooked for me. So these are just things to think about. Sugar. Sugar has a lot to do with germ warfare. And the germ warfare we're talking about is not just bugs. And they have this stuff called Splenda. A lot of people take this stuff.
Yeah, someone was asking about Splenda and let's see. They were asking about Splenda and stevia and erythritol.
So Splenda. Why can't we just call it Splendid? Why they got to chop it up Splenda? This is almost worse than sugar because it tricks your brain to think that you've had sugar. But what you have is some toxic chemicals they put together to trick your brain into thinking that this is sweet. No, I wouldn't touch it. Now, stevia is good because it's a sweet leaf, which is 200 times more sweet than sugar, but it doesn't hit your blood the same. It doesn't hit your digestive tract the same. There are some pros and cons to using it. You have to be careful because you could use too much of it. But for me, myself, I don't really like the aftertaste. It's like a little aftertaste later.
Yeah, I don't like the aftertaste either.
Erythritol is actually made from wood. When they process wood and they make a lot of things out of wood, they extract the sugar from the plant. So it's not something that's necessarily bad. I really like monk fruit. Monk fruit is really good. And there is one that has a monk fruit and what is the name of it? I'll grab it in a minute. So there's monk fruit with erythritol, and then there's monk fruit with, I'll have it in a minute. But also coconut sugar. Coconut sugar is really good. It doesn't hit the blood the same. It has to be digested over time. And it's a resin that comes from the flowers of coconuts in the morning. It doesn't have the same effect on the body. You see? So also date sugar. Date sugar is another one that's actually good for you because dates, they have prebiotics in them. Prebiotics are these things that have a lot of fiber that help to support a natural gut, healthy gut microbiome. You see, you can taste the sugar in dates, but your body can't break it down. The same thing is sweet potatoes. Your body can't break it down, which means it's not going to hit your blood and cause a problem. You see, so allulose, that's what it is. Then you have monk fruit. Monk fruit with allulose. Allulose is made from dates. It's a date sugar. They call it allulose. Very good for you. So these are sweeteners that you can use, and they're not going to play with your mind. They're not going to play with your brain. They're not going to cause the leptin in your gut to send a false message to your hypothalamus telling you that you need more of something and you're still hungry and you're greedy and you're just hooked on it and you can't get off it. Because it was easier for me to get off drugs than it was to get off sugar.
Sugar's a beast to get off of, and but once you do, it's worth the, how they have recovery for alcohol and all these things. It's worth the recovery to get off sugar. It really is.
the average drug you can get off in 28 days. You can change almost any habit in 28 days. Sugar, anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Unless you're doing something like the elevated total body program, the total body program, and alleviating the parasites and the microbacteria. And there's another piece to it. If you add X factor,
Right.
then you're dealing with these what they call viruses, but viruses are almost unknown. They're very special things because they don't really have DNA or RNA. They're in this gray area. So X factor deals with these unknown factors, which they call viruses, which everybody has all the viruses they ever had. It's just that they're inactive
Right.
until they become activated. So X factor helps to deactivate. I think I have a slide about we didn't
And
have one
so
before.
the X factor, and this is just as Dr. B was talking about it, when I was talking about earlier what my experience was with the cleanse, and infusing X factor into my process was everything. And additionally, as I was dealing with the pain, I used Heaven on Earth. So X Factor, Heaven on Earth, and Tranquility, and then I slept through the night and kind of just sweated out. But the X Factor is everything. And so here it says the X Factor disorganizes and weakens viral activity at the deepest cellular levels, detoxifies and purify the body for total energetic reset, greatly enhance immune strength and resilience, support a healthy balance when the body faces abnormal cellular growth and challenges. That energetic reset is so real because when I was on the other side after taking the cleanse, using X Factor and Heaven on Earth, my energy was through the roof. It was off the chain. I was completely reset. And I'm just days into the cleanse, but infusing X Factor into my cleansing regime, making that a part of my protocol, made all the difference in the world.
This X factor it's challenging to make it because there are some of the ingredients that we use, they only come seasonally, and some of them come from parts of the world where, somebody's got to go out and actually go pick this stuff. So some of the people who we have connections with in certain parts of on the planet, they just don't go grab herbs because you called for them. They have to wait to a certain time till they get a signal or until the forest says it's okay. So this is a challenging product to make. It is a limited it's limited because we can only make it, you know what I'm saying, at certain times a year. So it is very powerful, and it's called a supernatural antiviral because it also works in the supernatural world. So as viruses, as we know of them, we always think of the physical part, but there is a non-physical side to what we call viral activity. And we use the word a lot today. You want your post to go viral. We want it to go viral. That means that it spreads really quickly. So the energy of a virus spreads really quickly. And we saw that in the pandemic, how quickly people went into fear mode and 6 feet apart and all of that stuff. That was a program that a lot of people fell into based on fear. And a lot of folks have some of that energy still in their body. And this helps to deal with that fear factor, the viral factor, and some of those particles and things that they placed in that stuff. So this is not a part of the cleanse. It's an add-on to the cleanse.
Right. It's a powerful add-on. And Heaven on Earth is not a part of the cleanse, but it's a necessity because it takes away anxiety, stress, mood. It's the nervous system rejuvenation. And so that, what I can tell you is, and a heart tonic. So that Heaven on Earth allowed my nervous system to pause while the X Factor and the cleanse were doing what it did. And it was necessary for the reset. But let me tell you, the reset was amazing because by Tuesday, I was running around like the Energizer Bunny, and people were looking at me like, wait, you were just out for the count yesterday. And the next day, the bounce back was real. It was amazing. Um, and there's questions in the chat, Dr. B, about fig sugar and maple syrup.
I've only seen fig sugar one time. It was actually fig. It was like a jelly, a jam, and it was
Mhm.
really good. But figs are good. All those natural fruit sugars break down slowly. They don't hit the bloodstream so quickly, and leptin has a chance to do what it does. 100% maple syrup, the darkest one. If you could get grade C, which I actually had when I was in Connecticut about a month and a half ago, it's dark, it's beautiful. Oh my God, it has all the minerals, and that's what you need in your sugar is all the natural minerals to buffer the sweetness. So agave, if you can get the dark agave organic, it's okay. But agave is a little bit on the edge only because of the amount of processing that agave has to go through.
Okay.
You know, yes.
Okay, we're at 9:53. I'm a great timekeeper. I'm a keeper of the time. And we've covered a lot. I would suggest that you all dive into chapter 10. We're going to do a part two to this, and we're going to bring in some different angles as we do that. I just wanted to open the floor for any questions. And there was one question in the chat. What are your thoughts about allulose used as an additive in the US and not in Europe?
Is that allulose? Is that allulus? See, I'm not sure about
Allulose.
allulus.
I'm not sure if you meant allulose because above it says allulose is only by someone else. No, allulose. So she was asking about allulose. I think it's just a typo there.
Just remember, allulose is a type of date sugar. So you could use dates. You could take dates and soak them in water and then boil them over time, and you could make a date syrup, which is basically what allulose. They take that and then they dry it out and they turn it into a powder. But dates are a very good sweetener.
And molasses?
No, molasses is a part of sugar cane. See,
Okay.
sugar cane is good if you get it fresh. If you're taking sugar cane like they squeeze it, they press it, and then you get the drink right there. That's medicine. That works on your whole digestive system. But because it still has starch in it, it breaks down really slowly. That's the key with sugar is how slowly does it break down. If it breaks down quickly, it hits the blood. It's like a shock. It's like an electrical shock. It's like dropping a lightning bolts to your system. So natural sugar cane from the cane is great. Now dates, what do you call it? Molasses is a part of the refining process of processed sugar. It's when they suck all the iron and all those dark, minerals out of it to make this molasses. Molasses, I would only use molasses if if I was in an emergency, my iron levels are super low. I might use a little because I can't find anything else. I might use a little molasses to help bring my iron up. But what you really need to be doing to bring your iron levels up is to get
Iron
the iron
essentials.
essential, because without iron in your system, you can never really think right because you
Right.
don't have enough strength. You don't have enough, oxygen being carried to your cells. So iron essential is essential, but I would only use molasses in an emergency. Otherwise, it has some of the same effects of the white processed sugar.
So I want to let everyone know that if you use the discount code GW15, you get 15% off of $99 or more. And so I think that that total body elevated cleanse is everything. And I'm speaking from my personal experience as I do it right now. There's a question about can you get into the sauna on the cleanse?
Saunas are amazing. If you can get in the sun when it's hot, that's a natural sauna. So you can sweat and open up those channels of elimination. On the program, it's really good, to do that. Somebody's asking about how to get rid of physical parasites. Excuse me. Parasites are attacking. They don't want me talking about this. But to get rid of physical parasites, you do use either the elevated total body program or the total body program. And now get in the sauna or lay in the sun and sweat. It's amazing.
Mm.
Even getting in the hot bath, a hot bath, and put some essential oils like lavender and geranium in there, things like that, and it helps to detoxify the body. And put salt in your water if you're taking a bath. Any kind of salt you can use, because salt is attractive and it attracts all of these toxins out of your body. It helps to pull things out.
Wow. So we've had a lot of really good questions. And I think that as we move to close, I would say that um, what we've learned today about germ warfare and what we've learned about sugar and the things we, that happen and we don't think about. You don't think about grabbing something and reading the fact that it has sugar in it, because sugar is in everything. Corn syrup and fructose and all of those derivatives are in everything that you
Poison,
touch.
straight
Huh?
poison, straight poison.
Poison, straight poison, absolutely. And so when you're looking at ingredients and when you're moving to be in a healthier place, it's more than just looking at ingredients. It's also looking at, I've been putting these things in my body consistently for a very long time. And so to rid your body of them, you need to do a cleanse that will actually remove them. Now, like I said, I've been cleansing with friends and doing group cleanses and everything else. I When I came back to this time to doing the total body elevated cleanse, I really realized what I wasn't getting in those other cleanses, even though they sold the whole, it's going to do all these things. None of them made me experience what I did on day 2 of my cleanse, and I moved through that by staying with X Factor and Heaven on Earth. I'm just speaking from my experience, and it's going it. I'm on day 7. I can't wait to see how I feel on day 28. Right? It's really, I'm feeling the changes daily in my body, um, and so all I can say is I am being absolutely um, diligent with this cleanse. I'm doing everything that I need to sustain myself during this cleanse, and I am having an amazing time watching my body transform through the cleanse.
Wow. Well, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us today for another session of the Be Do Have experience. And we'll be back, if it's the will of the universe, we'll be back next Saturday. And make sure you're on the email list at elevationtime.com, elevationtime.com. And that's where you'll find your elevated and total body paracleanse programs, which are systemic parasite cleanses, which are different than just the ones in the colon. These are the ones that live throughout your system, in your auric field, energetically, mentally, physically, and spiritually. It will help cause a shift. And I just want to thank everybody on the staff who's been helping, and people out there who are listening, for making the change and making the choice to be with us. And I want to thank you, Dawn, for coming in once again. And you come in on a sailboat and help give us direction when we're on the sea. Because sometimes the wind is blowing, we don't know which way we're going, but Dawn helps us do the right thing. Dawn Osborne. So thank you very much.
And thank you, Dr. B, because everything that you put into into the cleanse and into every elevation time product is amazing, and how they work together is such a blessing. I speak from experiencing it now, and so I'm in the thick of my cleanse, and I can experientially tell everyone how I feel. And I just want to thank you, Dr. B. I just thank you, because it's more than just a product. It is transforming and I'm feeling it physically, mentally, and spiritually. So I'm so grateful for all that you put into your products.
And thank you. And I want to thank all of you out there. And we just the drum, the medicine drum 432, it's moving like crazy. And we just put in a new order and we haven't even gotten the order yet. And already, it's like I think we just moved the last one yesterday. Folks are picking up on this drum and realizing that they can use it during their cleansing. And you can use the drum just to tune up your chakras. You don't need to be a musician. You can just find the notes that you like and just tap on those particular notes. And yes, so the medicine drum 432 is an amazing, thing that you can just have in your house. You can just put it in your room and sit it there, and it vibrates. It also helps to harmonize your environment just by sitting there, and by tapping on it, you can tap into your original self. So as we leave,
I looped the Equinox YouTube during a Reiki session, and I just looped it. It was amazing.
wow.
It was amazing.
So I'm going to play a little bit on our outro. I'm going to actually play it live. For those of you who don't know about it, it's called the Doctah B's Medicine Drum 432. It's a custom made instrument. There's a lot of information on the website. And some folks are really getting hip to this. They can use their discount code to get 15% off of the drum or anything on the website, $99 and more or more. And get your books. The books are moving fast too, but move quickly, and move with your spirit. Go with it. If you get a gut feeling that you should do something, do it. If you get a gut feeling that says don't, then, we're not trying to force you to do anything against your natural will. So the drum helps you open up to who you truly are. I'm going to play something here live. Thank you very much, Dawn.
Thank you. And we're setting the dates for LA. We'll let you know as soon as they're set in stone.
And we're also working on dates for Houston and also, I think, Ohio. And
And Atlanta.
in Atlanta for, we're going to do a book signing and subconscious alignment work and Reiki and healing and teaching that helps folks, change and augment their lives and do the alchemy, because we're all alchemists. I'm going to play a little bit of something from the drum. My highest choice is that you enjoy it. And whatever you do, be a creative artist, create your world. We're all attractive, but you must allow and choose what it is you're attracting and what you're repelling. Be aware of what's eating you. Okay? I'm going to play a little bit of the drum. Okay? Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
We'll talk later, Dawn.
Thanks. You guys have a wonderful day.